Hey guys, this is Substitute Topher, and today we're driving the 2023 BMW 760i xDrive. This is an entirely new BMW 7 Series for the 23 model year. This particular car is powered by a 4.4-liter twin-power turbo V8 engine. It makes 536 horsepower and 553 foot-pounds of torque. Power is sent to all four wheels via a ZF 8 HP automatic transmission with 200 Newton meters of electric assist. And today we're going to walk you around the 7 Series, show you what it looks like on the outside, and then we're going to take it for a drive up quite the road. We're actually on a canyon road right now in Palm Springs, California. We're out at BMW Test Fest testing out some of the new BMW models. And I am such a fan of the BMW 7 Series that I was eager to get behind the wheel of this new G70 generation. That's the new body code. The last one was G11, and I haven't driven a G11 in a couple of years, so it's nice to be back behind the wheel of a 7 Series. This one is pretty wild. It's got pretty much every option you can get. We've got the rear theater entertainment package with the lounge package as well. You can see there's a couple of, well, recliners back there. I wouldn't even call them back seats, and we'll show you how all that works in just a second. But before we get too far into the interior, let's hop out of this 760i and show you what it looks like. We've got buttons. We don't have door handles, but if for some reason these buttons malfunction, you do have a manual release down here under your window switches. This car's finished in red, but it has a $12,000 optional black two-tone paint job, so it looks quite nice and quite Maybach-ish, if I do say so myself. Pretty bold styling in this new 7 Series, and honestly, the proportions aren't too off for me. I think when they facelifted the G11, or the G12, I believe, was the Life Cycle Impulse, the proportions were kind of weird with those big grills, and it all just kind of looked awkward. But I think now they've done a little bit better job kind of working this grille into the overall design of the car. We've got crystal headlights on the 7 Series and LEDs here on the bottom. Check out these running lights. Tons of crystals in there. So cool. We'll pop the hood in just a second, take a look at that motor, but let's walk around the whole car first. Good proportions in the back, and at some angles, and don't come for me in the comments on this, I think that this kind of looks similar to the E38 7 Series, which is my favorite 7 Series ever made. And I think it's more so the proportions of this car. They've done everything right as far as making this look like a proper big luxury sedan, and I certainly appreciate that. Power boot, of course. Quite a large trunk area, similar to the Rolls-Royce Ghost, actually, that I was just driving. First aid kit over here on the left-hand side. And no spare tire in this 7 Series that I'm aware of. We've got a couple tie-down spots back here if you're hauling anything large, and up there as well. You can see my backpack in here for scale. It is quite a large trunk. You could certainly fit all of your groceries in there. This is funny to me. This button right here has been in BMWs for so long. Since like the early 2000s, we've had this button to close power trunk. Since the F01 7 Series, so I guess late 2000s, early 2010s, but I just thought that that's funny that they have kept that same trunk close button. You can see our design here on the taillights. Beautiful color of red, Aventurin Red. I hope I'm saying that right. Let's pop the hood and check out this 4.4-liter twin-power turbo V8. They completely hide the hood release. I was like, do I not get to see my engine? But it's way under here, and it's a flat pull, so you can't, usually you'd have it right here by your left foot, but they hide it to make everything look more streamlined. You can close these doors from the outside as well. Just press the button there on the door handle, and the door's shut. So let's talk about this engine for a second. So this is the 4.4-liter twin-power turbo S68 V8. So normally when we're talking BMW engines, if they start with an S, that means that they're from an M car. And in this situation, this is actually the same engine that you'd find in an equivalent M car. So S68, it's been in M cars. and now it lives here in the 760i as well as the X7 M60, which we'll probably drive later on. But I just think that that's pretty cool that we actually have an S motor in this V8 7 Series. Another interesting fact is that the only market that gets this S68 powered 760i is North America. No other markets get the V8 7 Series, so we're pretty lucky to have this. It does come with a couple different powertrain options. At some point, there's going to be a turbocharged inline 6 version of this car. In Europe, currently, they do have a plug-in hybrid. And then in America, we have what's called the i7, which is the fully electric version of this car. It looks exactly the same. The interior is the same. It's just electric, which, are you listening, Mercedes? I feel like that's probably what Mercedes should have done for the EQS, but that's just my opinion. And we won't get bogged down on Mercedes because we're here to talk about the BMW. So let's hop in the back seat and take a look at this theater display. So in the back of this 7 Series, we have a 31-inch 8K resolution screen. And as you can see, it's folded up right now, but we'll go ahead and we will lower it. So in the back seat of this 760i, probably the most important seat in the car, we've got our own little infotainment display on the door panel. It's pretty small, but you know, it gets the job done. You can adjust our climate control from this menu and swipe to unlock just like a phone. I mean, it's basically like having an iPhone in your door. We can control a number of things from this little infotainment display, including our seats, our blinds, and our lighting situation back here. But what I want to do is put this into lounge mode. You have a little icon right here. You can see it shows a person laying down. So we're going to set lounge position. You can see it's thinking right here. It's going to move this seat forwards. It's going to move it forwards than pretty much any other car I've ever seen, or move it further forwards, I should say. It does take a minute, but that's okay. We're not in a hurry. The car is warning up there. Oh, here we go. Okay, legs are coming up now. You can see I'm going to have to put my dirty Vans on this beautiful white seat back. But you can see some other people have already done it, so I don't feel super bad. Okay. You can see that little footrest comes out, and I am in lounge position. Oh, it's still adjusting. It's laying me down even flatter. The seat back is adjusting now too. So I am 5'11", and oh, it's still adjusting. It's still adjusting, everyone. Sorry, I'm speaking too soon. It's lifting me up even further. Is it done? Position reached. Okay, there you go. Confirmation. So I'm 5'11", and well, I'm comfortable. I think that I could even be a few inches taller and still have room to extend my legs because I'm sat pretty far down. If I actually sat up in here, I've got a couple more inches until my feet actually reach the back of the seat, as you can see. So this is a pretty cool position to be in back here. I mean, I feel like I'm in a Rolls-Royce Phantom, but I'm just in a BMW 7 Series. So pretty cool that they've added lounge mode. Of course, this does not come standard in the 7 Series. As I said, it is an optional extra. I believe it's about $7 grand if you want to have this rear seat option. So let's go ahead and figure out now how to drop the theater screen. And we might have to do that from the front seat, but I'm going to try and do it from back here. Oh, you're able to do it from back here. I had only done it from the front before, but here we go. You'll notice also the car raises the rear window sunscreen as well to give you the best viewing pleasure back here. This is wild. I've never been in another car that that gives you this. This is unbelievable. And it's a touchscreen. You've got YouTube back here. You've got Netflix. Oh my goodness. Do I have a remote? Somebody's taken my remote. It's okay, we're going on YouTube in the back of the new 7 Series. It's like YouTube Inception, because you guys are watching on YouTube right now. But I'm also watching YouTube, or at least I'm trying to. I don't know that we have Wi-Fi right now activated in the car, because that is thinking for quite a while. Well, while that's thinking, let's talk about interior materials. So the blend of materials in this interior is wool and, wait for it, cashmere. We have cashmere in this BMW 7 Series, and I quite like the way that it feels. It's pretty soft. It reminds me of some of the material that Volvo has been using in their cars for quite some time now. But the nerd side of me is saying, well, this reminds me of like a Euro spec BMW 7 Series that has cloth seats. Back in the days of the E23 and the E32, those cars came with cloth seats in Europe, and you'll always know if you see one in America with cloth seats, well, oh, that's been imported. So I had a little bit of a nerd moment, like, oh, cool. Cashmere pillows here on the headrests. They're quite cozy. I've got one over here as well, of course. And I think I actually need a remote is the problem. But you guys get the idea. Huge drop-down screen. You can sit here in lounge mode. You can watch YouTube, probably. And it's all just, it's unbelievable. There's an HDMI port on the back of this thing. You can plug in your Amazon Fire Stick. You can do pretty much anything you want in the back of this 7 Series. And alongside, if you've got your screen here in the middle, you're watching YouTube, you've got controls over here on the left and the right-hand side for other things that you want to control in the car. You've got volume controls over here. You've got audio controls, Bluetooth. You've got display controls over here. You can fold the screen up from the big screen itself. Brightness. You can make this a full screen display. Man, what a thing. Yeah, this is wild, guys. I have never seen anything like this in a production car. Okay, well, I think I've sat in this back seat long enough. We could spend a ton of time back here going through everything that this car has, but I think we've done a pretty good job. So let's go ahead and fold this screen up, which we're going to attempt to do from here. Display off? No, I want to fold it up. Oh, you know what? This is just the tilt angle. You can actually bring the screen closer to you as well. You can tilt it at different angles. You can see you can have it more straight up and down, or you can hit fold up and it will, well, it'll fold up and get out of your way. Okay, display is off. Let's reset our seat here out of lounge mode, and I'll edit this part out so you guys don't have to wait for this to go out of lounge mode, but here we go, reset. It's also worth mentioning that if you aren't in lounge mode, you've got a spot for a USB-C charger if you want to charge your phone, and you've got a little mount here if you want to mount something on the back of the seat, such as an iPad or something like that. But why would you when you have this 31-inch 8K screen that just drops down from the ceiling? I don't know why you'd ever bother with any other screen. Okay, let's hop out of this back seat and get into the front seat of the 760i. We're going to use the button here to close the door. Yeah. It's such a cool thing. I love big luxury sedans like this, if you can't tell. So I am absolutely in my happy place right now with this 7 Series. Okay, let's see if I'm able to do what I was trying to do earlier. Of course, this car has iDrive 8, so a ton of new technology features. I might have to shut the door actually before this key message goes away, and the key's in my pocket. Okay. So up front, we've got iDrive 8, this big wrapped glass display that goes from the cluster all the way to the edge of the infotainment display. It's uninterrupted. We've seen things similar on cars like the iX and the i4, but it's really just becoming standard in all BMWs. The facelifted 3 Series has it, the X7 has it, and I'm sure eventually everything will have this iDrive 8 cluster and infotainment combo behind the steering wheel. So get used to it if you can. I'm less scared of it than I was last year when we saw it for the first time, and honestly, I'm getting the hang of it. But what I like the most is something called Hey BMW. Hey BMW, open my driver's window a little bit.
All right, I will open the driver's window a bit.
And it just cracks the window there for you. But what's the coolest thing, and I actually haven't tried this yet, so we're going to try it here. Hey BMW, open all 4 doors.
Should I open all doors?
Yes.
I will do that now.
Oh. Check that out. So you shouldn't be scared of iDrive 8 because you can just ask it to do whatever you want, and it'll do stuff like this. I mean, that's just outrageous. So if you've got a party of 4 people that want to get into your 7 Series, gone are the days of having to get out or have your butler get out to open all the doors for you, because the car knows what to do. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can shut them now. Actually, let's use the screen here. You can just hit close all doors, and it'll close them all. And they all close at the same time. You can hear all the soft close mechanisms finishing up there, but how cool is that? Otherwise, you'd find all of the normal luxuries in here that you'd expect in a 7 Series. We've got heated and cooled seats, massaging seats. Our seat controls are crystal buttons mounted on the door panel, similar to what you'd see in a Mercedes-Benz S-Class or any Mercedes. There are some weird things in here, though. For example, the vent controls, if you want to aim the vents at you, that's done with these little buttons here. And I guess I shouldn't even say buttons. They're more just like sliders. And the vents actually come out above your illuminated trim. And this is probably my least favorite thing about the car because I can't ever seem to get the vent in the right spot. And it's a little bit frustrating to use these because they don't feel super intuitive. It would honestly be nicer if they had little things that stuck out, like little knobs you could move, but I guess that would take away from the elegance of the interior, and we certainly can't have that. So you have to deal with these little knobs that aren't the best. If you want to open and close the vents, you do that with this button here. You can see that is a closed vent, and that's an open vent. You can also put it in between somewhere at, you know, multiple different positions. Front and rear defrost are quick access here. The rest of the climate control is in the infotainment. If you want to open the glove box, there's a button here on the trim to do so. How's that going to work in 10, 15 years' time? I don't know. Let's take a look here at the Merino and go over some of the options that this car has. We've got the Autobahn Package, Driver Assistance Package, BMW Individual Composition, which gives you the Alcantara headliner. That is a $5,000 option. Luxury Rear Seating Package, Executive Package, Executive Lounge Seating Package, which gives you everything that I just showed you guys with the seat that goes all the way forward, the leg rest, the screen, everything. That is a $7,000 option. Otherwise, I told you about that $12,000 option for the two-tone paint. All in all, brings the total of this particular 760i xDrive to $162,045 with destination. It's built in Germany, and it's quite expensive. Well, what else do we have to talk about in here before we get out on the road? We've got a split center console, which has my hat in it right now. What I actually found interesting is that we don't have a cover for this front cup holder and phone storage area. There's nothing that slides to cover all of this. So your cup holders and your phone are always going to be exposed. That's okay. I have no problem with that. I just thought that with the rest of this interior being so smooth and streamlined and everything, I thought that maybe they would want to have even more simplicity and, you know, whatever else. But otherwise, more cashmere continued up here on the door panels. The Bowers & Wilkins $5,000 4D sound system speaker covers fit nicely into this interior as well. In the center here, next to our shifter, which is now just a tiny little switch like a Porsche, we have our iDrive controller, which is, of course, crystal, because why would it be anything else? We've got a volume knob right here, which is also crystal, which feels quite nice. Shortcuts here for things. We've got a home button. We've got a media button here. You can see that just takes us to Sirius XM. You can go back home. You can also use this as a touchscreen. And you guys all know about iDrive 8 by now, so we don't need to go into incredible depth with this infotainment system. But one last thing I want to talk about before we get on the road is the drive modes. And the reason I don't want to talk about these on the road is because they change a lot of things about the car, and I don't want to crash while they're like messing with the sunshades and the air conditioning and massaging seats and all those things. You've got a My Modes button here right below your iDrive selector, and we have a ton of drive modes in here. We have Personal, Sport, Efficient, here's where it gets weird, Expressive, Relax, Theater, and Digital Art. All of these different drive modes kind of change the vibe more than they do the driving experience. Obviously, Personal, Sport, and Efficient, those change the way that the car drives. Think of this as normal, sport, and eco. But then these Expressive, Relax, Theater, and Digital Art change the interior dynamics in the car. Well, I kind of want to have those down. Oh. So as you can see here, theater mode. Normally it would put up all of the shades back here, but those were already up, so the only thing it's done is lowered down our screen. But this gives us a good opportunity to take a look here at our different inputs here. As you can see, there's an HDMI port. If you want to play Xbox or something on the screen, you're able to plug that in right there on the back. Okay, I went to the back seat to put all of the things back, because this is one thing that I'm struggling with a little bit, is just how complex everything is in here. And sure, the iDrive 8 Hey BMW Assistant helps out quite a bit, but still, I had to go to the back seat to put all the sunshades back. So let's go ahead and put our moonroof back closed. I want to show you guys what that looked like open. And of course, being that this is a BMW, you have ambient lighting on that glass at night. Of course, we can't see it right now during the day. But anyways, we won't go through all of these drive modes, or whatever you want to call them. We'll start out in expressive mode, just so you can see kind of the pretty colors here on the cluster. But we've been sitting here for like 20 minutes. I need to get this car out on the road. I need to go for a drive. So let's go ahead and do that now. Try and get these vents adjusted properly. Shifter feels pretty good, and the actual click from it feels nice and satisfying. Lets you know that you're in gear. You can see we've got a reverse camera, 360 camera, swivels with the steering wheel. It does a good job of telling you where the car is. Full click down puts you into drive. If you click again, it puts you into sport transmission mode. And we have paddle shifters on our steering wheel as well to manually change our gears with the ZF 8-speed 8 HP automatic gearbox. And this window is down. I was like, why do I hear the outside world? It's because I had it crack my window earlier. All right, we've got a short drive here, which is just a straight portion. And then we get to a proper curvy road a little bit up here into the mountains. Oh, sounds like a rear window was open as well. Okay, now it's nice and quiet in here. I drove the Rolls-Royce Ghost earlier, and I'm glad I did, because I think that car's a little bit quieter. But for the Ghost being 3 times the price, this 7 Series gets pretty dang close to being as quiet as that Rolls-Royce. So pretty impressive. In fact, there are a lot of things in here dynamically that remind me of that Rolls-Royce, as far as the accelerator and brake pedal feel, the steering feel. It's all very Rolls-Royce-ish, and it just adds to the experience of this 760i. It's so whisper quiet. I could whisper for the rest of the review, and it would probably be okay. It's so quiet in this thing. It's really unreal. Okay, well, what's it like to drive? Well, it's very easy. It feels very natural getting into this car. The steering wheel's a little bit thick, but we've been seeing some thicker steering wheels in BMWs as of recent. Throttle response, pretty good. It's fast. Over 500 horsepower, 536 horsepower. It certainly feels like it. And I was told earlier by our BMW product specialist that this thing gets properly rowdy when you put it into sport mode. So we're going to try that up here just around this corner and see what it's like, because this is the TheTopher channel. So we've got to immediately go into sport mode with this car. So what this is doing right now is it's tightening the bolsters on the seat. We've got a more aggressive throttle tuning map here on the car. Same with the transmission. The exhaust is now more aggressive. We can also gain use of our paddle shifters. And of course, being that this is a ZF 8 HP, the gear changes are lightning fast. This thing is so impressive. It's a little floaty, but not in a bad way. You can actually use that body roll to your advantage to kind of tuck you into the corners here. Otherwise, though, the overall dynamics of the car are pretty impressive. I mean, it doesn't feel like a big 5,100 pound car. You heard that right. This thing weighs 5,100 pounds, so it is no light thing. But what I think helps is we do have rear wheel steering in this car, as well as two-way air suspension. So it's doing a lot of adapting through these corners. Wow, holds the road so nice. Holy crap. Oh. The feel through the brake pedal is pretty good. It's a little squishy at first, but once you get into it, it actually feels pretty good. Yeah, you can just tuck this thing in. Oh, man. I did this route earlier in the 50th anniversary M3, and I don't think I did it much faster than this. Oh my. Okay, let's relax a little. Pretty confidence-inspiring front end, honestly, and I'm quite comfortable in this thing up here. All right, let's try and find a straight section and we'll do a launch control. Actually, let's do that right here. All right, sport transmission mode. We're just gonna do left foot on the brake, right foot on the gas. Oh! And there's 60. BMW claims 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds, and that feels right. Actually, it might be more like 4.5, but that launches hard. Oh my goodness. And there's a minivan. And when left to its own thing, the transmission does a pretty good job as well. I mean, oh, this is fun. This thing's really good to drive. I'm a little shocked, to be honest with you guys. Look at this ambient lighting. I just noticed this. It's M colors. When you're in sport mode, this whole clear trim, it lights up in M colors. Wow, I hope you guys can see that on camera. In the shade, you should be able to. If you didn't see it there, rewind the video and go back to when I was in the shade, because this lights up M colors. That's wild. Sorry, didn't mean to get distracted. When I saw the press release for this car and when I saw the initial images, I didn't think that it was going to be at all aimed at drivers. You know, you see the big theater in the back, you see that there's an electric option for the car. But, I mean, BMW has always been the king when it comes to, oh dear. Nope, cancel. Cancel.
Please try it again.
No, cancel.
Okay.
Yeah. This car brand has always been the king when it comes to being luxurious, but yet also still having something left for the driver. And sure, you could be carted around in this car in the back seat and have the time of your life watching that 31-inch theater screen, but at the same time, you can hop up front into the driver's seat and really have quite an engaging experience. This is really, really quite impressive. Let's drop this down into efficient mode and relax here. Let the car do its own thing. We'll put it back into drive. And this 4.4 liter quiets right down, and can barely even hear it. Now, I was gonna end the video up here at this lookout point, and honestly, I probably should, because this is quite a long video, but we're gonna take a little blast back down together, and we'll end the video back at the bottom, because I can't get enough of this 760i, and I want you guys to come along with me for this last little part of the journey. Let's cut in here. Got some of our motorcycle people here. One of which might be Charlie, actually. Greetings. Okay. Let's just drive this car kind of normally. We'll drive it in efficient mode for a little bit, and then we'll go back into sport once we get a little bit closer to the bottom. In fact, I do actually kind of want to be in manual mode because I want to engine brake instead of getting my brakes real hot. for the downhill bits. Probably do 4th gear. But otherwise, it's pretty serene in here to use. I've been using that word a lot today because I've spent the morning in a Rolls Royce. But this is a good car, guys. I'm not just saying this because BMW flew me out to California. I'm saying this because I actually mean it. This is quite the machine. I'm very impressed with this car. I did not go into this today thinking that I would be this in love with the new 7 Series. Especially after spending some time in the EQS a couple weeks ago, you know, the newest offering from Mercedes. This is more impressive to me, and I know that this isn't the EV, but consider something. This 760i is basically the same in and out. I'm sure, you know, dynamically it's very similar to the i7, whereas Mercedes, the EQS and the S-Class are 2 completely different cars. So from BMW, we're getting, you know, instead of a fully electric 7 Series, we're getting a 7 Series that happens to be electric. It's still a 7 Series, you know, in and out, but it just happens to be electric. But boy, am I happy, you know, electric cars aside, boy, am I happy that we still get the V8 in North America. Okay, let's go back into sport mode, sport transmission, manual. Little farts between gear changes. I am braking prematurely. Forgive me, we're on a downhill section, and this is a 5,100 pound car, so don't want to be too ambitious here with this thing. God, it sounds good. All right. Oh my goodness. Oh. You can feel stability control intervening. Oh my goodness. It sticks to the road. We're gonna take a look at what these tires are when we stop as well, because I'm curious. Some pops and burbles on the off rev. Don't want to go off the road up here, that's for sure. Oh my God. Maybe it's a good thing that we're catching traffic. For something I thought was going to be completely soulless, this car is pretty dang good. Sure, BMWs aren't looking as traditional as we have known them in years past, but boy, are they starting to drive more traditionally. We've been impressed with a number of BMW products this year. The iX, let's be honest, okay? The iX, it's hideous, but it drives great. In fact, it was one of our favorite electric cars of the year. And the looks on this car aren't for everyone. I personally don't mind them that much, but the driving experience in this car is really quite proper, and I am so thrilled that BMW has kept some of that enthusiast DNA here in the 760i. And you can see my hands are sweating because I was engaged. I was having a ton of fun in this thing. So I like pretty much everything about it. I think some of the, okay, lane keep assist is on. It was unhappy with me there. I like pretty much everything about the 7 Series. A couple things I don't like. I don't like these vent controls. I think that they're kind of silly. And just the overall vibe of some of the technology in here can be kind of overwhelming. iDrive 8 itself, to me, not overwhelming anymore. All of the things that you can control by voice if you know what you're saying. You can be pretty casual with the system and it usually knows what you're on about. I like all of that, but there are some things in here that just feel a little bit overwhelming. And you know, being a luxury car in today's market, having to compete with things like the Mercedes S-Class, I understand that they're trying to go above and beyond and trying to make this car kind of outrageous and overly luxurious. But there has to be a point where you can only simplify a car so much and have it still be usable. And I think that this is right on the edge of that. So good job, BMW. This new 7 Series is a treat, and boy, am I excited to get behind the wheel of the i7. Of course, I haven't done that yet. And, you know, I bet that inline 6 car is going to be great as well. But for now, the 760i is great. I'm quite pleased. And I'm still in manual mode. All right, we'll settle it down. We'll park over here, one last walk around, and then that'll be it. This will be a good chance to try that rear wheel steering for maneuverability. Oh yeah, check out that turning circle. Wow. If you're making big luxury cars and they don't have rear wheel steering, what are you doing? Pretty quick rack too. Okay, into park here. Let's shut it down. Do one last walk around of this 760i. And then I'll let you guys go for the day. Thank you for bearing with me here in this review. Pretty in-depth with a car like this. It can't really be a short video. Oh, and let's see what these tires are. Oof. Well, they're gonna know I was cornering hard. Anyways, that, allegedly, maybe that wasn't me. Okay, Pirelli P0s, okay. So, somewhat aggressive summer tread here, but they did great. They handled this 5,100 pound car like a dream. Oh, okay, well, this thing's really good. It's better than I thought it was gonna be. I think it looks the part, mostly the front end's a little iffy, but otherwise, guys, I am so impressed with this thing. And you gotta have it two-tone. That's another thing. Gotta have the two-tone. Okay, well, that's gonna wrap it up for us today. Of course, we'll have a new 7 Series back at the HQ. You guys will be able to see the TOPher behind the wheel of it. But I hope that you have enjoyed my first impressions here on this new G70 BMW 760i xDrive. That'll end it for us today. Thank you guys again all so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.